Hi, this is Paul Castiglia, and you're listening to Fowl Players Radio, the one-stop shop for all your pop culture needs.
Hey, folks, welcome back to Fowl Players Radio. Michael Spedden here. Make sure that you are subscribing to Fowl Players Radio. You can do it both our audio version on Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, anywhere you find podcasts online. And you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're watching this right now, you're probably watching us on YouTube, and you'll see that I have a face for radio. But hey, still hit the subscribe button and still like us and pass the word on to all of your friends, because we're having a great time here at Fowl Players Radio, and we'd love to have you join us. Tonight's guest, if you happen to be a Baltimore football fan from way back, after we had the Colts, after Bob Irsay tore our hearts out in 1984, and then we had a year of the Baltimore Stars from the USFL, 9 years later, Jim Spiros brought a football team, a Canadian football team, here to Baltimore to carry on the proud tradition of football that we have in our city. Tonight's guest is Chris Armstrong. Chris Armstrong was one of the top receivers in the CFL when the Baltimore Stallions were here, 1994 and 1995. He scored almost 30 touchdowns and had close to 2,600 yards receiving in those 2 years. And he won the Grey Cup with us in 1995, and he was also on the team that came within a minute or so of winning it in 1994. And he came on tonight. He was good enough to come on and tell us all kinds of stories from those years, talk about his teammates and everything else. And I really had a great time talking to him. And Chris, I want to thank you for the memories and the great episodes. So thank you very much. The Fowl Players of Perryville are going to be doing our murder mystery shows. We're going to be back on the Western Maryland Scenic Railroad on August 13th, September 10th, October 8th, and October 29th. Tickets are available at www.wmsr.com, or you can get them at www.fowlplayersofperryville.com. We'll be back with Chris Armstrong right after these words.
Hi, this is Bud Becker, and you're listening to Fowl Players Radio.
This is A.D. Adams, and you are tuned in to Fowl Players Radio with your host, Michael Spedden.
Yeah, hi, this is David Simmons from DC Star, and I am just encouraging all of you to tune in to Michael Spedden's show on Fowl Players Radio and love the rock and roll of the past and the art of the future.
Hello, this is John Piet,
Kevin Schmidt,
and Jerry Bozick.
And we're August, a little band from Virginia. You can hear our story, other stories from the legendary Baltimore, D.C. music scene, and much, much more with Michael Spedden on Fowl Players Radio. You can find it at www.fowlplayersradio.com, on YouTube, and wherever you find podcasts online. Keep rocking.
Hello, folks. I'm here with Rebecca Jessup from the Havre de Grace Arts Collective. Rebecca, tell us about all the events that you have coming up for August.
We have a lot going on. The majority of them are going to be at the Opera House, which is in Havre de Grace. But here is the lowdown. So at the beginning on the first weekend in August 5th and 6th and 7th, we have something called the Havre de Grace Mosaic Project. And this is an immersive presentation in our black box where folks can come in, have images all around them. And it talks about the years in Havre de Grace from 1900 to 1925. And in the future, there'll be additional ones for additional decades. Also, we are celebrating our 5th anniversary in the first weekend. So on August the 6th, we will be having our Big Hair Birthday Bash with the Flips, the Ultimate Journey Tribute Band. You don't want to miss that. That's going to be really big fun. And we're going to have throwback prices for wine and beer. On Friday, August 12th, we have the Eric Bird Trio. It's going a little bit different from Journey to the Eric Bird Trio, which is some jazz. You can sit back and just relax. And then, of course, for the kids on August the 13th, that's Saturday, we have stories, folktales, and fables for the young and young at heart here in the Fire Hall, which is one of the spaces we have here at the Opera House. We have the actual theater. We have the black box, and then we have the Fire Hall where we have some some events. So that's definitely all family oriented, for the stories, folk tales, and fables. And then on August the 13th, same day in the evening, we have a rockin' band called Revolution Heroes. You can come here and rock the night away. So for something a little different, we have a week later on August the 20th, we have the Madam Mims Experience, tarot readings for everyone. So you can come, have your tarot cards read and see what's going to go on in your life. Everyone wants to know about that. The majority of our events are at the Opera House, but this event on August the 20th, which is also Saturday, we'll be having at the new Star Center, which is previously the Havre de Grace High School, which is now a beautiful, wonderful performing arts venue. We will be having David Clark's All About Joel, Billy Joel tribute. And we expect to have a really big crowd there. It's going to be wonderful. So sit back and relax and hear all your favorite Billy Joel songs. Here's something a little bit different too. On Sunday, August 21st, you can have body paint yoga. So it's a way to express yourself using yoga and then painting with your body. So you definitely want to check that out. August 27th, we have a wonderful magician. His name is Randy Shine. His real name is Randy Shine. And we will have a master class in magic followed by a magic show right afterwards. So that'll be fun for families and the kids. Though that will actually take us to the end of August. For folks wanting more information, this was a whole lot. You can find out more at www.hdgartscollective.org. Also, one thing I didn't mention is we have a great youth arts program, and all the programs are on the website. They are all free for children. It includes painting, all kinds of crafts, and that generally happens on Saturday mornings at 10. So that's what we have.
Wonderful. Folks, make sure you go check out all of these programs and all these shows that they have over there. They're really putting together some great things for us in the community. So thank you, Rebecca. And folks, make sure you go check it out.
Thank you.
So, folks, welcome back to Fowl Players Radio. Tonight, I have a very special guest. I got to tell you, a lot of fond memories of this guy going back to 1994 and 1995. And if you happen to be a Baltimore football fan, you'll know that a guy by the name of Bob Irsay basically ripped our hearts out back in 1984. 1994, you're watching the news, and all of a sudden we see news of a new football team coming to Baltimore. You know, it wasn't the USFL team. We had the Baltimore Stars for that season, but a Canadian team. And Jim Sparrows, restaurateur, I believe he was, and, you know, amongst other things, a coach, decided to, the CFL was coming to America, and they were making a stop in Baltimore, and they were putting together a team to bring out the Baltimore faithful. And my guest tonight, Mr. Chris Armstrong, was a big part of that team. And Chris, welcome to the show. I really appreciate this, and this is a real thrill for me. Thank you for being here.
Listen, man, thank you for having me. Thank the City of Baltimore for embracing the Stallions in the way in which they did. And, thank Mr. Sparrows and Coach Matthews and all those guys for not just giving me an opportunity to play in the United States, but giving so many of us an opportunity to play football here in the United States so that our family and friends could travel and get an opportunity to see us.
Great. Well, what I wanted to ask, I guess from the beginning here, we turn on the news and we see that we're getting the Baltimore, at the time they thought it was going to be the Colts. Right. But that was a huge controversy right there. Yes, I think they went from the Colts to the CFLs, to the football club, to the Stallions, 4 names in 2 seasons. And how did you deal with that?
I mean, when you talk about the Colts, the name was legendary. And I think that it kind of ran into some conflicts with the NFL and things of that nature. So to go to the CFL, I think it was great that the city played a major part in deciding what the name was going to be. I think it got everybody involved in it. And I don't really think it mattered whether we were the CFLers or whether we were the Stallions. the fans here in Baltimore, they just came to see football, and it didn't really matter what the name of the team was. They just were glad to have football back. And Memorial Stadium is a historical place. So when you talk about getting an opportunity to play in the same place, Johnny Unitas and Tom Maddie and those guys, it was an amazing feeling for us every time we got a chance to perform.
Absolutely. I bet it was. I mean, just to be able to walk on the field and, kind of carry the torch, when the team came, I mean, I was absolutely beside myself. I was so happy to finally see some football back here and to have somebody come into town that wanted to respect our traditions, use the colors, and just bring back, something that was really, a big sense of pride for our city. And I tell you, so we see it on the news, 90 days they put the team together. And I mean, there were people that had been established in the league for a while, I guess, like yourself and Tracy Ham and Pringle. But then I bet you probably had quite a motley crew of people, people that just are getting their first opportunity for anything at that level. What was that like?
Man, when you get a chance to play, I think Mr. Spiros and Jim Pop and Coach Matthews did an amazing job of assembling a wonderful team. And it's funny because I was in Las Vegas first. So, I had reported to camp, but then I kind of heard that, Tracy was here, and I played with Tracy for 2 years in Edmonton. So to get an opportunity to come here, I kind of got here like 2 weeks right before like the season started. So,
oh, wow.
So I came in and there was a room full of receivers, and Coach Hill was watching film. It was myself and Walter Wilson. We called him Franchise here. He's a local boy here, great friend of mine. And he was coming from San Diego, and I was coming from, I got released in '93 from the Patriots. So we both came in on the same day. And it was funny, I can remember him saying, I'm gonna be the best receiver on this team. And I was like, look, slow down, young fella, slow down a little bit. And he and I had a great relationship, and went to practice that day, and he and I did well. And he started at the X, and I started at the slot. So just having the opportunity to play here, again, for an owner like Mr. Spiros, everything we did was first class. The entire organization, Mike Gaffigan is one of my dear friends right now. Jim Pop is one of the best GMs in the game. And then just Coach Matthews, man, just made playing football here, coming to work every day. It was a lot of fun. And, just the staff at the stadium and the people that were actually actively working with us. It was a wonderful group of people, man, that really wanted football back in Baltimore. And they showed that to us as we worked every day.
Right. And you said Tracy Ham was kind of instrumental in getting you to come here, and you guys had played together for a couple of years in Edmonton and had good teams as well. Yep.
We did. I think when we came here, Tracy, my first day here, he was like the first person I saw, and his first thing was, let's go to work. Let's go to work. That was his mentality. And again, it was great for us, so many of us, we played in CFL before. Our family and friends don't really get a chance to travel to see us like they got an opportunity to see us here. So that was a great thing. And you're talking about Herb Smith here and Swag. And it was, when you hear the roster that we had, if you didn't really know anything about the CFL, when you hear the names, Carl Anthony and Charles Hare, it was an amazing roster that we had. And to be a part of it, man, I just felt blessed. Mike Pringle was one of the best backs I've ever had the pleasure of playing with. And he the thing was, Tracy's thing was, don't have drive killers, and Mike's thing was just block. So we kind of got this great thing going, and I felt like this, like if Pringle rushes for 100, then I'm gonna have 100 yards receiving and probably a touchdown or two, because the same guy responsible for stopping him had to stop me as well. So it was one of those great things.
Yep. I can remember, Tracy Ham was a really tremendous athlete. I mean, he had the ability to scramble, he could run, and he had a cannon of an arm. I just remember watching, being at the stadium, he's scrambling, he's dodging all the, the other team's jerseys are around him. All of a sudden he gets like a couple of steps away, this perfectly arced rainbow pass up through the air. Everybody's just kind of sitting there watching it, and then right to number 81, boom, and into the end zone. I mean, it was just quite. And you had two of your finest years here, didn't you?
Yes, I think playing with Tracy easy because I played with him when I was a rookie, so I got a chance to kind of spend a lot of time with him. Even when we came here in Baltimore on Thursdays, before we play, we go and we get some time, just me and him, to talk about what his plan was and what he wanted to do. It was very important that I kind of thought like him. So many times he'd say, if I do this, man, I want you to do this, even though there would be something that we talked about all week, in practice. But he said, listen, when we get this on this, when we see this coverage, this is what we want to go to. And I learned very early that if Tracy tells me to do something, I should do that. So, it was a great situation. But just being around I heard you talk to Bruce about Tom Maddie, man. And Tom Maddie and I spent so much time just laughing and talking, man. And I thought that he was very instrumental in us coming here. And he really made us feel wanted and welcomed here. And I'll always remember that, and I will always remember that. Yep. Great guy.
Oh yeah. I mean, he was, it seems like, all the Colts were really just an institution here. With everything that they brought to the city as far as championships and pride and everything. And I really felt the same way too about, what you all did here. I was glad to see the Ravens come, but I was just like, you win the Grey Cup, and then 2 days later, well, here come the Baltimore Ravens. And I'm just like, you can't just do that to these guys. Come on, man.
Yeah, we understood the business side of the game.
Yeah.
And the CFL cannot, although it is an entity of the NFL, you can't compete with that. And the people here deserved that. It was taken from them. So if we were able to stand in and give them good football and give them what they wanted, give them some joy. I know when I can remember the first game we had here, and I pulled up to the stadium, and you could feel that atmosphere, that boom, kind of when you turn on the 33rd Street. So it was an amazing feeling, and you really kind of sat in your car and was like, we got to put this work in today, So you had that feeling, and so the city deserved it. I have a lot of friends that play, here for the Stallions, that played with the Stallions, that are still actively involved with the Ravens. And, I got an opportunity to train with the Ravens before I worked out for them in '98. So it's a great thing that they have football, and it's a great ownership there. They got a great coach there. So it's wonderful for the city of Baltimore that we were able to come in and do that. And it was great for us that we were able to, we made history. We won the first Grey Cup in the United States. So that was great for us.
I'd spoken to Chris Candy. He was a guest of mine a number of months back, and we were talking about his acting career. And I'm sure you remember John Candy, his father, was part owner of the Argonauts.
Yes.
And I spent a lot of time. I really wanted to focus on his career. I guess kind of the pressure that you run into having a legendary father like that is when people interview, they want to ask about him and not you. I'm like, well, look, I'm not going to do that to him.
Right,
but the one question I asked was because, the year that I think Candy and Gretzky bought the Argonauts, they went all the way to the Grey Cup and they won.
Right.
And I asked him, what was it like, having a CFL championship team in the family? He wasn't expecting that question, but he absolutely loved it, because they had Pinball Clemens on that team. And and what was it like being on the across the sidelines from a guy like that? I mean, he was just amazing.
Man, listen, I was fortunate enough to be on the sideline with Rocket when Toronto had Rocket that year.
Oh, yeah.
He was a blazer. And then when you're playing against Pinball, I never forget, we were playing him here, and he's legendary. Like, he is a legendary back in the CFL. And I remember Alvin Walton, Pinball was just doing his thing. He was having some success against us. And, Alvin Walton was like, Coach, man, let me go and let me play. And a former Redskin guy came in and got a clean shot on Pinball. And like, it just kind of, it really slowed him down and changed the game for us here. That game here, I'll never forget, Alvin just wanted to be that guy. He had so many personalities and so good players on the team. NFL players, and we had CFL All-Stars. And so, again, Coach Matthews did a great job of managing egos and managing personalities and, getting all of us to have one common goal, and that was to bring a championship to Baltimore. So again, I was just fortunate to be a part of it, man, along for the ride. I had a great time. It was a wonderful thing. I really appreciate the city for embracing not just the Stallions, but for embracing Chris Armstrong. I did a lot of stuff here in the city. So I really appreciate that.
So it looks like you're contributing again to the great football tradition in the Baltimore area by being a coach over at Loch Raven. I went to high school around the corner from, I went to Calvert Hall. I played for a year there. And back in '84. And Loch Raven was, we never played them, but there was a lot of smack talk back and forth between the schools back. This is I'm in your age group. I graduated '86. Yeah.
Absolutely. I came out '85. So yes, I understand. I was fortunate enough, man. I got the job here 7 years ago. We weren't doing very well when I first came, and I kind of brought that CFL style here to Loch Raven, and we throw the ball a lot. My quarterback will wear Tracy's number, and we have my running back, so kind of do something with Pringle, and just the guys that I have a lot of respect for and a lot of pay a lot of homage to. And one of my dear friends, again, OJ Bergans, is now still working with the Ravens. So we try to do it. We try to throw the ball and have some fun. We were really successful my third year here. The COVID hit, which impacted the entire world. So we're a small school, so it took us a couple of years to kind of bounce back. But I am excited about what we're going to do moving forward.
Well, that's great. That's great. I guess, and I would guess, having you as a role model must be a really good thing. I mean, the fact that you were able to play professionally for about 10 years, and I guess, these kids. I mean, I'm sure you're dealing with egos and things like that too. But I mean, I'm sure there's a big part of what you have to tell them is about the discipline that's needed, right?
Absolutely. I think, one of the things that we talk about here at Loch Raven is people that like to play football and people that love to play football. So if we're trying to find those people that love to play football because they're willing to do the right thing in the class, the right thing in the hallway, which is going to translate to the weight room and it's going to translate outside. So, I tried to make the game as fun as it was made for me. Coach Matthews made coming to practice every day a joyful time, and I'm saying that sincerely. He was all about the work, but he also gave us a chance just to take your helmet off and understand that you don't have to have your helmet on all the time. You don't have to be stone faced all the time. He really believed in having fun, and that's kind of what I do and what I try to do here. So again, kids like it, and everybody don't understand it, but again, we are who we are, and we throw the ball a lot. So as far as talking about myself, one thing about this era, social media is amazing. So all you got to do is one player say, "Oh, I think Coach Chris played football," and then from there the Google thing is on, and then it just keeps going. It goes and goes and goes, and so trying to get them to understand that I understand the journey, and I understand the struggle. I understand what it's like to be a student athlete, to go to class and have to do homework and things of that nature. So we kind of get them to that point. And I have a saying, I say it every week, fellas, if we're mentally strong, we're going to be physically tough. So football is about your mind now. It's not about, it's changed. And in the 80s and, 70s and 80s and 90s, it was about just brute strength and just going forward. Now the game is more mental, so much protection for our young people and the helmets and things of that nature. So, we have to be able to do that. And I get a joy out of it. I get a lot of joy out of coaching and seeing young people progress through life, seeing a freshman walk through the door and matriculate into a young man and get stronger and get bigger and really understand it. I still go every now and then. I practice a little bit, and everybody say they'll stop Coach Chris, but I let them know every now and then. I always say, Mr. Miyagi, he never showed Danielson everything. So let's make sure that we understand that. So it's great. It's great to coach, man. I love it, and I'm blessed, man. I have wonderful children that are all doing well, and my daughter's a full scholarship basketball kid. So I am having a great time, and I'm having a great life, and I appreciate being on your show. I was so fortunate to be here and play for the Stallions. It was an amazing feat for me to actually to help Tracy get something that had kind of been a monkey for him. It was kind of monkey on his back. Like, you know, he'd been to the champion East Western Conference final. We went together as a rookie, and so we'd been there a couple of years, and to see him come now and to be able to play against Damian Allen and Doug Flutie and then all of the great teams that we played against, man, and for us to come out of that thing as champions was a great thing.
Yeah, that was just amazing. I mean, you came to just within like a minute of winning the first time. You know, that veteran kicker from British Columbia kicked that field goal in the closing seconds, and then you know, the next year, you know, you beat the Stampeders pretty decisively, and they had been kind of a thorn in your side a bit, you know, getting to that point, you know, but they really kind of tell us what it was like, you know, finally getting a chance to overpower them. I mean, you beat them, I think, by a couple of touchdowns, I think, and the game was a lot wider open.
Yeah.
Wasn't it?
And you're talking about a team in Calgary with one of the better quarterbacks in the game, Doug Flutie. Went on to the National Football League to have great success.
Yeah.
You're talking about receiver in Alan Pitts, which probably one of the best. I think, you know, there was never a question about who was the better of us, because I always felt like you guys throw the ball 90% of the time. I get my work done on a 30% of the time basis. So when you're talking about percentages, then I'm better than you guys are. And, you know, we joke about that after games, but to really get an opportunity to prepare, I think we had 3 games in like 10 days. I think we were in Edmonton, Saskatchewan, and I want to say Winnipeg. It was a tough like 10-day haul. And it was funny because a lot of young players hadn't done it before. So all of us pretty much, you know, the roster was senior, you know, it was veteran laden. So we understand, and we went to Calgary, and it was a big to-do. Wally Bono was there, Coach Bono was there, and then you have Coach Matthews, and that's a big thing. And then you have Doug Flutie, Tracy Ham, our defense versus that powerhouse offense, their defense versus our powerhouse offense. I'm sorry. So it was a great thing. And then to get them in the Grey Cup, and just to see our defense go to work, like it was like, wow, right? It was like, wow, to see them go to work. And it was an amazing thing. And you got a chance to understand what we came here for. We felt like in '94, we felt like we left something, you know, we had some unfinished business to do. And I think that was what Coach Matthews was saying in '95, you know, just unfinished business. And I think we lost a couple of games. And then, you know, we had a great meeting with Coach Matthews, and he put all of us on notice, like all of us, like there was nobody safe in here. And we won a 15 game winning streak. And you know, it was just an amazing thing to watch.
It really was. It really was. And then I mean, that Grey Cup, I mean, I was just so happy when that happened. You know, I was really glad to see it, because I was kind of prepared for anything, you know.
Right.
I mean, the last few years the Baltimore Colts were here, you know, were not good years. And and I figured, you know, they're bringing in a new team, you know, they're probably going to be, you know, they may be building, they may be bad for a while, you know, they may not, you know, be winning a lot of games, but I tell you, they came in and just boom. I mean, it was just, I was like, hey, I can get into this, you know. And
I think it was, sorry to cut you off. I think it was funny because it was Scott Garceau was doing our games, and you know, so many people were surprised at the level of China. And I think a lot of people started to like the game. They started to like, because it was fast paced. It was a lot of scoring. The ball was being up in the air. 3 downs. You know, once you kind of got the rule, they were having a lot of fun. Like you kicked the, you know, you Chris Wright was here for us in '95. Man, amazing, you know, kickoff return guy, and you know, God rest his soul. But he was you know, he was electric. And you punt it to him, and you know, he's breaking tackles, and then he's scoring, he's turning the flip. And you just have everybody, you know, just towing their rope, man. And that's what we did. Everybody understood. it ain't gonna be my day every day. It's not gonna be Chris. I'm not gonna catch a touchdown every game. I'm not gonna have 100 yards every game. But when my time comes, I'm gonna step up and I'm gonna play. And our quarterback was consistent week in and week out, and he brought us that level of just confidence and understood that if we get the ball back in 6 minutes, man, we're gonna win. We're not gonna give the ball back. So it was great. And when you're playing with a guy, like I said, I think Mike Pringle was, wow, he was a horse. Do you understand me? He was a horse, man. You got Sharp Adonis that went on and played, started at the left tackle for the Washington Redskins. You got Josh Miller, man, went on to punt for the Pittsburgh Steelers. OJ went on to play with the Ravens. So there are so many guys, and we all had opportunities. I had an opportunity to go to Pittsburgh in 95. No, I'm sorry, 94. My first year, I think I averaged 23 yards a catch, something like that. So I had an opportunity, but I'd already gotten cut, by the Patriots in 93. So, and I had a family. So the whole, just getting bumped around thing wasn't for me. So I opted to stay here. Now, I didn't know we were going to leave. I think, had I known, but no, I mean, to get to play here, man, was amazing. And the fans here are amazing. It's a great city for football. I now work for the state, man. And so when you see what's going on down at M&T Bank Stadium on game day, it is amazing. So, I'm so proud of what they're doing with the Ravens, and I get so much joy in their success. And also, sometimes you run into an old head and, hey, man, are you Chris Armstrong? Man, I knew it was you. So to get that, I'm a little old now, got a little gray hair now. So
I got a little snow on the roof myself, I got that.
Yeah. So, it's great to know that some people still remember it. And when I'm training kids, it's a little different the way I train. So to have a young man excited about what we're doing, I like it. I really like it.
Yeah. I wanted to ask too, the different, I mean, you had mentioned that, you had played, a bit for the Patriots, Redskins, going out for the Steelers. I'm sure you played your college ball in America here.
Right.
What are some of the things that are like, I mean, besides just the size of the field and the number of players, some of the differences in the game?
One of the biggest differences is that you can take a receiver and run like you can run a 10-yard route, but run 45 yards to get to 10. So, it's one of those things that everybody can go in motion. You have to get used to that. I think when I first came into the league, I was kind of standing still playing the slot. And I was actually being Alan Pitts one day in practice, and the defensive coordinator just started, saying, man, who's that kid? Who is that kid? And when I came here, man, I was fortunate enough to coach. I don't know if you guys remember Rod Russ. Got a chance to play for Coach Russ. He was coach defensive line here, I think. And he was amazing. We were sitting on a flight. I'll never forget it. And he said, you know what, Armstrong? You could have played back when I played. It's not a lot of guys on this team that could have done that. But I felt like that was the biggest compliment that you could be given as a player, that a coach like Coach Russ, that a coach in the National Football League, coach some of the best players ever played in that era of that Tom Addy era, and that era, to say that he felt like I was tough enough to play in that era, it meant a lot to me. I'll never forget that.
That was years and years ago, and I won't. This show's about you, but I'll share a quick story with you.
Okay.
My grandfather, before there were the Colts, in the 40s after World War II, they had athletic clubs. And, there was one in Arbutus, there was one in Canton, there was one in Dundalk, there was one in Curtis Bay, and they had, semi-pro teams, baseball, football, basketball, and they would play around the city. And it was in the late 40s, I guess, like I said, right after World War II, everybody, would go to these games, they would travel to wherever they were playing, and before face masks and all that stuff. And my great grandfather was on the sideline. There were no bleachers. There may be a couple of bleachers, but everybody stood on the sideline around the team. Right. And somebody from the other team intercepted the ball, started running down the sideline. My great grandfather took his flask out of his pocket, ran out onto the field and clotheslined the guy. And there was this huge brawl between both benches. And,
Right.
that was, and again, that was back, with cardboard shoulder pads, no
Shoulder
face
pads, right.
masks or anything. And and there was really not the exercise programs they had either. Those guys just drank beer,
I tell you what, man, when you think about the game and how far it has come and how far how the game has advanced and so many things have changed. And when you get a chance to talk to a player from that era, to get a chance to talk about just being mentally tough and being as well as physically tough, it does it teaches you something about that love. And I think I talk about it a lot with my kids. You have to love to play football. So in that story you just told me, those guys love to play.
Yeah.
They didn't care. They didn't care about the color of the helmet and if it was a Nike uniform or Under Armour uniform. They didn't care about that. They just wanted to play football. And I think that was kind of the feel that I got with this when we were here. Like we just wanted to play. We got a group of guys that just wanted to play. And we held each other accountable. It was some battles. If you guys think the games were good, like to be at practice and, Coach Matthews doing what he does and kind of, challenging the offense to get at the defense today and, defense having that mindset that it ain't going to happen. It was a great thing. And I think we just love playing. And I think as things go, you look at the National Football League now, those old heads that are still there, like they love playing. So that's a great thing about it. And I think to those stories, man, we have so many more stories that we tell our kids. It's kind of like our parents, you tell all them, so I walked to school 47 miles, I walked the sole out of my shoe. We have those stories too, man. I played in the air when it was a bike helmet, a big round helmet. Now everybody talking about speed flex. Like, Coach, can I get a speed flex? Like, boy, do something to get a speed flex, right? So, we're all trying to buy speed flexes and understanding that, you have to have those things if you want young people to come to your school and play football for you. I will say your Cowboy is doing well. They are doing well right now. So Baltimore is Baltimore County, man, has some great football out here. A lot of wonderful teams, a lot of teams trying to come up like Loch Raven is, and a lot of teams that are truly established. And I have a lot of dear friends, man. Playing here has afforded me the opportunity to meet so many coaches. So it's been good, man. Again, playing here was the best. That's the most fun I've ever had playing football. And getting paid to play, like that was the most fun I've ever had. So
sure. What sets when you have especially when you get to the professional level, I mean, you have all the best of the college players coming out for a team. You've got a bunch of receivers that can all run, 4-second 40s. You've got a whole bunch of linemen that are 6'6", 330 pounds that can probably bench press 500, that are quick and in shape for big guys. You've got a bunch of quarterbacks with cannon arms and good speed and everything. What is it? What is that one thing that kind of sets? I mean, I know what is it that that sets the people apart, really, the guys that make it versus the ones that don't.
I think a lot of it, man, being honest, is luck. There are a lot of players that aren't playing that are really, really good.
Yeah.
When you go to some of these semi-pro games, there are a lot of good players that just weren't in the right place at the right time, or they went to a team that had just drafted a guy. I think Coach Matthews was that guy that kept us on our toes. Like I said, we came out one day at practice, man, and it was like 15 receivers getting out, like out there working out. And this was in '94, and he says, "Oh yeah, Armstrong, one of those guys gonna take your job." I said, "Coach, you have to bring Jerry Rice in to get my job, so I'm not really worried about that, right?" But it just kept us motivated and actively working hard every day. I've been cut from an NFL team and really felt like, well, God, this guy's not better than me. But at the same time, they thought that he was. So there's really it's just about of being lucky, man. And if you're able to do it, then you relish that opportunity. And if you don't, and if you love to play, then you go where the game takes you. If you
Mhm.
just like playing football and you didn't go to the NFL, then you're not going to play in the CFL. You're not going to play in the USFL. You're not going to play in these other leagues in arena football because you feel like you just don't want to do it. But if you love the game, then you'll go play you'll play for the Hong Kong Honeybees, man. If you know you get an opportunity to play and to be fortunate enough to come to a team like the Baltimore Stallions, you would relish that opportunity. And I think that's what we learned too. Those guys that were able, those 37 guys, those 53 guys, man, that were able to make that roster. We fought every day to keep our job. We, when we were going to go against Alan Pitts in Calgary, and like Tracy would be Doug Flutie in practice. It wasn't that Tracy was a starting quarterback and he would feel like he's past that, right? So I would put 18 on my back and I'd be Alan Pitts and there'd be the circle around my name and I'm jumping up and I'm doing what Pitts does so that the defense will be ready for him. And we just, like I said, that's just how you stay hungry, man. You want to be better. My defensive backs that we had, Carl Anthony and Irv Smith and those guys, if I needed some work, I'd ask them on the way to practice, like, let's get busy today. Like, I need that work. So that's what we did. And that's kind of because we all love playing, man. We didn't want to go home. We knew this was the ticket. Like, Loch Raven was the ticket. We were better than, Birmingham. It was a good team. I think it kind of came down between us and Birmingham as far as like who was going to be, because I think they had Damian Allen, who was going to be the best team in the United States, kind of between Baltimore and Birmingham. No discredit to everybody else. I'm not discrediting anyone. But when you just the media and just the way it went, that's the way it was. And something else I remember, I had scored a couple of touchdowns in a game, and Scott Garceau said, "What separates a guy like Chris Armstrong from a receiver in the NFL?" And I remember as I'm watching the game, I'm watching it that night, and I said, "Nothing, just my pay. That's it, just the pay." So when you have guys that have done, they did the Colts and now they do the Ravens, but them to speak about you in that way, it goes with you. I think we were here in 95, and it's 2022. So for me to still remember those stories, those things mean a lot to me. That Scott so would say that Coach Russ would say that, and Tom Maddie said, "I'm one of the toughest SOBs." He's been around. So when you hear those people saying that, and you still have a level of humility about yourself, just being glad to play and being glad to be on that team, and that was a good team.
Yeah.
When you and still having those relationships. I know me and Swack, we're great friends now. Me and Tracy continue to talk. OJ has come out to Loch Raven and watched us play a couple of times. So, it's just one of those things, man. And people ask me, did you want to do anything with the Ravens? Did you want to, the opportunity never came. So I never forced that opportunity. Baltimore was good to me. I'm living the way I want to live, and I'm coaching young people and I'm seeing their life change. So I never think about it, honestly. So when you call me, I'm like, what? Really? I thought it was a prank. I'm like, who's pranking me right now?
So it was a prank.
I did, like because you know how things come to your email. But I started. I did what you said, and I followed you. I watched some of the stories. I watched you and Bruce Cunningham. So I did a show with Bruce actually. So it was an amazing thing. It was an amazing time for me. Keith Mills as well. Scott Garceau, and now to get an opportunity to talk to you 20-something years later, man, it is an amazing time for me. So thank you for giving me this opportunity to talk a little bit about myself and to talk about a group of guys that I love, like brothers right now, and to talk about great ownership. Mr. Spiros, and he'd always say I was his favorite receiver. So to get to do that, man, and again, God rest his soul, Coach Matthews, to get a chance to play for those guys and play with those guys, and it was something that I think we wanted. It didn't really sink for me until like I was home. I was in North Carolina, and I was training, getting ready to go, and I'm like, dang, I'm a champion. Like I'm we won it. And I think I was so happy for again, Tracy, man, because he's been in the league for a long time, and to get that monkey off of his back was an amazing thing for me. So when it hit me, and I tell our kids here, like, wait a minute, like we were 10-2 one year, we had some success, we made history here, and history never changes, and that's what you guys have to understand, that like once that Stallions, that team, it will never go away. It will never go away. And I was fortunate enough to make the Alouettes all team of the decade. So football's been good to me. The city has been good to me, and to still, you know, I like I said, I work for the state. So when I drive the bus, man, and I'm coming down 33rd Street, I always look over there. You know, of course, the stadium's not there, but I look there because there were so many memories for me there. So I always look, and it's crazy. It's 20-some years later, man. I'm still looking over there. But you know,
I know
it's just a matter of it was such a special place for me. I do have a scar on my right leg, that the warning track that was in the back of the end zone. I have a scar from that. I'll never forget that. So you know, that's my memory from Memorial Stadium and winning some of the games there that we won, and to see that place sold out every time we played.
Oh, like, yeah.
It was amazing. Every time we played, man, to see the place sold out, not just during the game, but when you turn the corner on 33rd Street before the game even starts, it is bananas out there, man. So that was something I'll never forget. I'll never forget, like just getting out of your car and people asking for your autograph right there, and you know, people just wanting to be a part of it so bad. And I think I love the fact that we took time. We all took the time, even though we had to get to work, right? We were taking time to sign autographs right there and high-fiving people to let them know that we appreciate the acceptance that they were giving to us, man. It was a wonderful thing.
Yep. It was a shame when they tore down Memorial Stadium. Is it still weird to drive down 33rd Street and not see the light towers?
Yes. Again, it's crazy, man. I will come down there just depending on the bus line that I'm on. And if I'm on the 22, I come up that street 7 times in 8 hours, and I look over there 7 times, and it's like, I'm like, the building is gone. But the sentimental moments that I had in the stadium, the success that I had, and again, my career jumped here with the Stallions. It really jumped, and I became a household name, not just here, but actually in Canada as well. So the reception when we went to Montreal was it was open arms again, because it was a similar situation to here. The Alouettes Montreal didn't have a team, and for Mr. Spiros to be able to go over there and kind of market it the way that they did and put us in a great position, again, was a wonderful thing.
I was glad that you all were able to relocate and go up to Montreal and continue playing. Did the team more or less stay intact?
I think those people that were under contract, we did, but then, you know, once you kind of leave the United States, this is what we all wanted to, where we wanted to be. Once that contract was over, you know, it's you know how it is, man. You win a Super Bowl, you know, the money gets on the table once you win a Super Bowl. So there were people that actually wanted to go and test the market, which and as well as I did as well in '98, after I worked out for the Ravens here. I remember telling Ozzy, like, look, I got a deal on the table in Canada. You know, I'm going to sign it after the 28th of February. Like, you know, free agency starts the 1st of March. So I had already had a deal intact. So I was ready to move, and it would have been wonderful to come here and play for the Stallions. It would have been a great time. But I think, you know, having played here with the Stallions, I never wanted to lose that. I didn't want to lose that feeling and that connection that I had with the Stallion fans. So the opportunity, it just wasn't the right opportunity for me. So, you know, I mean, hey, man, listen, we all working, man. We all out here working. I'm coaching and staying actively involved, and you know, just want to be ready if an opportunity presents itself for Chris Armstrong. You know?
Sure. Yeah, I was at I think it was maybe a year or two after, I was at it was an autograph and a card show down in Chantilly. And I didn't know until I got there, but Shar Pradanish was there, and he was playing for Washington at the time.
Right.
And I went over because I have, as you can see, I still have all my Stallions stuff here. This is my big bad and blue cup, and I got my button, bring it home. And I wonder if I can still get 69-cent refills of this at Royal Farm Store, if I go. It's in good shape. They might honor it. Who knows?
They may.
I was just, I met him, and he was there with a couple of his Washington teammates at a table. And I said, I was a big Stallions fan. Those guys like, oh God, that's all he ever talks about is that team, And he was kind of a cut up too, wasn't he? He was kind of a comedian.
Yes. Char was one of the funniest dudes that I've ever been around. And for me, as a receiver, I always made friends with the linemen. Right, I always made friends with the linemen. I spent a lot of time with Char and Neil Ford and Big Easy and Big Country and I forget him, my right guard's name, man. He went and played for Denver for so long. Oh my God, one of the best linemen I've ever seen. But I had such a great relationship with those guys, and I hung with them. You're gonna eat well if you go with linemen. Like linemen gonna eat you. But Char was a guy. Practice was always full of laughter. But when it was time to work, when it was time to lock and load, he was ready to go. And Char was the guy that every time I scored, I jumped into Char's arms and he held me up. I'll never forget that. I was so proud of him and so happy for him that he used the Stallions as a springboard to go to the Washington Redskins. So proud of Josh, for using it. What's the lineman, man? Come on, I'm so sorry. I apologize.
I know. I'm racking my brain too.
Played the right guard, undersized guard, but went to Denver when they had Terrell Davis, and he started at the guard for them. Oh, come on, Chris Armstrong. I can't remember, but I'm.
It wasn't Goodwin, was it? He was defense. There was the twin brothers.
Matt Goodwin, amazing
Malcolm.
athletes.
Yeah,
Matt and Malcolm, amazing athletes, man.
They played defense. Though one was a lineman, one was a linebacker, right?
Yeah, one was a DN and one was a linebacker. So Matt was unbelievable. Like this kid was everywhere, and again, to see him like from day one to the championship game, to see his development, to see his maturity, it's like watching your little brother like come through. Like and it was amazing. He had so much energy, and he could play. Like he was smart. They were both smart. But I think the coaches, we just had great coaches, man, that just let him go, turn him loose, let him go run, let him have fun, and that's what he did. And he'd get a sack, or he'd run it down. And we had so much youth with so much veteran. Tracy Gravely is an unsung hero here. Again, Alvin Walton started in the National Football League. Like he started for the Washington Redskins.
He did.
On their Super Bowl team, absolutely, and came here with the humility to say, "Go ahead, young fella. I have my time. If you need me, I'm right here." That's what the Stallions were about. It wasn't about, because I played in the National Football League, this is my time, step away. It was, we all embraced one another and wanted to be better. To have, I was in camp with Alvin in 1990 with the Redskins. And so when we saw each other again, the embrace was like two family members, seeing each other again. And so he felt like, then I should have made that team. And I understood that why I didn't make it. He had the Art Monk, Gary Clark, Ricky Sanders, the three amigos. So I understood, man. I was coming in late from arena ball. So I was just glad to get the opportunity. Right. So that was just a fun part for me. But again, I thank you so much for allowing me to come on this show and talk about the Stallions and about myself a little bit. I got to be careful what I say, because my daughter will be like, "Dad, Dad, stop." So I really enjoy it. I love coaching, and I love getting young people to the next level. Really rooting for Lamar. Really rooting for Lamar. I don't know if I don't have a favorite team. I will be honest because I played it. I just don't. I don't watch it as much. I don't really go to the stadium because it's hard for me to sit up and watch the game with the fan that you know he had a couple of drinks, man. So he's saying things that he shouldn't say. So it's really hard for me to do that. So I really don't. But I'm rooting for them to be successful.
Well, great. Well, I'll tell you what, I really thank you for being willing to come on and talk about this. You know, again, the Stallions, a big part of our pop culture here in Baltimore. Legendary team, you know, two great Cup appearances. One, you know, brought it home the last time. Really, you know, really meant a lot to the diehard football fans here in Baltimore, you know, who just, you know, were, you know, had that tradition kind of taken out from under them. And again, you know, the great seasons that you had here, you know, catching those passes and ended up in the end zone and a lot of yardage too. You know, we just appreciate you and thank you for the memories, Chris. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
I tell you what, for our listeners, is there a website or anything? Maybe we can get a bunch of our listeners to come out and make some noise at a Loch Raven game this fall, huh?
It is actually, man. Oh, Chris, I'm drawing the biggest blank. What is the website, man? You can go to Digital Sports. They will have it. They'll have our schedule. You can go to Loch Raven. You can follow us on Twitter. You'll see our schedule there. It would be amazing to see someone from that era and that time. I do thank you so much for having me on.
Sure.
We are trying to build it, man. You know, like I said, Loch Raven, you know, we gonna get it done. And I really appreciate the city. I really appreciate the ownership and management. And the fans is something that I'll always be grateful to. Something I'll always be honest to. And I thank Baltimore for propelling me athletically and as a professional athlete, so that I can have some of that, you know, some of that ink underneath my name and things of that nature. And I get to say for 1 year in 1994, I led the CFL in average yards per catch at 23 yards. I had, you know, you look at those other guys, you know, I'm just joking right now, but look at those other guys that catch 104 balls and then they have 1,900 yards. And I only caught 78 balls and I had 1,800 yards. So when you think about it in comparison, and you really want to know who is a better receiver, it's not really tough to see. But, you know, that's just how we were. And I love Alan Pitts and I love Rocket and all of the guys I got a chance to play with and play against. I one game, and I'm gonna let you go with this, man. I'll never forget. Young man was I was turning 28 years old. I'll never forget it. And the young man, he was talking. We were getting ready to play the team out of Texas, I think. Birmingham, not Birmingham. Yeah, no, the other team, San Antonio.
San Antonio, yeah.
And they had a little DB, man. He was on the paper talking about what he was going to do to 81. Like, Armstrong ain't going to do this, that, and do that. So, you know, that was a running joke in the locker room. And, you know, I remember Tracy saying, "Hey, Ahmed, your man say you ain't going to do nothing." And I think I went out and gave him like 5 touchdowns, 200 yards. I'm like, man, don't come on my porch. Don't come on my porch knocking on my door, man. But that was one of the fun times I had. And I remember talking to the young man after the game and I made a lot of friends. So and the crowd went crazy and Sharp picked me up a couple of times that game. So it was a wonderful time. And the city of Baltimore have some of the best fans in the world, in the sporting world today. And I'm sure that if you ask the Raven fans or the Colt fans or the Orioles fans or you know, any sporting event that's here, the state of Maryland comes out and they support, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So thank you so much, Baltimore, for embracing me, embracing the Stallions, and making us feel like we were while we were here.
Well, thank you again, Chris, for coming on here. Folks, we've been talking to Grey Cup champion, star wide receiver of the Baltimore Stallions, Chris Armstrong, and now coach at Loch Raven High School. It's thanks again for the memories, Chris. We really appreciate you coming on. And folks, we'll see you next time. This is Foul Players Radio signing off. Folks, we hope you enjoyed this interview tonight with Chris Armstrong. I really had a great time talking to him and getting to relive these memories of two football seasons I really, truly enjoyed as a fan, 1994 and 1995, when the Baltimore Stallions were here. Tune in next week for another episode of Fowl Players Radio. Until then, make sure you follow us on YouTube or on any of the sites that has the audio version of our podcast, on iTunes, Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, anywhere you can find it there. And make sure you hit that subscribe button and like and sign up for updates on YouTube. You'll be getting a new episode just about every week from Fowl Players Radio. And we've got a lot of great stuff in store for you, folks. So make sure you subscribe and stick with us. We will see you next time